Hi, my name is Samuel, and this is Musings and Meaning. This is just a quick response to what I believe is a false morality being raised against the church. I've been working on something that is taking longer to put together than I expected, but I saw a video, actually two videos, basically telling the same story, and I thought there needs to be a response. Before I proceed, here is the video.
A man forgot to put his phone on silent, and it rang so loud in the church during preaching. The pastor scolded him. The worshipers admonished him after the sermon for interrupting. His wife kept on lecturing on his carelessness all the way home. His friends and acquaintances shook their heads in disgust. You could see the shame, embarrassment, and humiliation on his face. He never stepped foot in the church again after the service that Sunday. That evening he went to a bar. He was still nervous and trembling. He spilled his drink on the table. The bottle fell by accident and it splashed on some people. Those it touched rushed towards him. He closed his eyes expecting a bashing of words or slaps. Instead, they cared to know if he did get a cut from the broken bottle. The waiter apologized and gave him a napkin to clean himself. The janitor mopped the floor. The female manager offered him a complimentary drink. She also gave him a huge hug and a peck while saying, "Don't worry, man, who doesn't make mistakes?" He has not stopped going to that bar since then. Sometimes our attitude as believers drives souls to hell. We can make a difference by how we treat people, especially when they make mistakes.
This is first to pastors. If you get visibly angry and embarrass your members for leaving their phones on, please stop. You are a nurturer. So nurture your church with grace and gentleness. Lashing out at people over this or any other wrongdoing it's not worth it. It doesn't speak well of you or help anyone. Just give them a second or two to walk out, then continue with your message. If it happens a second time or a third time, call them privately. Admonish them with wisdom and grace, and everything will be fine. Now to the ideas being spread around through these kinds of videos. I find it amazing that you are comparing the church to a bar. I find it amazing that you don't see anything wrong with these comparisons. What are you going to use next to compare the church? A brothel? How inviting and loving are they? The fact that you think comparing the church to what happens in a bar is something worth doing and moralizing about it is concerning. Can you do the same with any of these big corporations around, for example? Just imagine the standards and level of expectations in these corporations and their operations. They expect you to dress a certain way, the general atmosphere. They expect high standards of behavior and professionalism. You will not dare to make these kinds of comparisons. You will be looked at as a joke, and yet you think it's okay to bring the church down to the level of a bar. That's the house of God. And these two things are not comparable. How important is the church to you? Jesus says, "What shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and yet loses his own soul?" He is making a value-based comparison here. Your soul is far more important than anything else in the world. And therefore, the church where you get nourishment for your soul should be held in high value, far more valuable than the corporate boardroom. You see, it's a question of value. You tend to elevate things of high value and are more critical of behaviors around them than things that are of less importance. There is no way expectations in a club will be the same as expectations in the church. It's the house of God, and no one should belittle the house of God. It is an important place that needs to be held in high reverence. I hope you recognize the manipulation in this story, however. First, they magnified an obviously judgmental situation and identified it to the church. Look at how rude and judgmental those people are. But then they painted this other extreme rosy picture of a bar. See, church, learn from this bar, be like them. A drinking bar has better moral standards than a church, and you want to compare the church to the drinking bar, and you are saying we should learn from them? As virtuous as these stories may seem, I think they are put out there in an attempt to berate and devalue the church. They are an attack on the church, but they are so cunningly done and effectively framed in such a way that some of us fall for them and accept the moralizing of what is actually an undermining of the church. If I may ask, what is this Christian who left the church a short while ago doing in a bar anyway? You didn't think about that, did you? Anyway, this is a short one, so see you soon.